So this is episode 7 of our one bedroom house. I know it has been a long wait, but I got a little busy. And that aside, I'm here now and I'm ready to rock and roll again. So in today's video, what we're going to do is foundations. All right. In particular, we're going to do the foundation walls, the foundation footing, and we're going to do the floor. All three of these, we're going to actually model them in 3D. We're going to get a little deeper into some stuff, so prepare your brains, all right? If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Thank you for joining, and I hope that you learned something new. If you have any questions at all or any thoughts, feel free to drop them below. And also don't forget to hit the like button. I'd really appreciate that. Let's go. So for those of you who don't know what a foundation is, which would be
crazy at this point.
Foundation of a building is also referred to as the substructure. So you have a superstructure, which is the portion above ground level, and you have substructure, which is below the ground level, which is what we will be focusing on. And there are many types of foundation. You have pile, raft, pad foundation, but the one we're going to be focusing on, or the one we're going to be using, is known as strip foundation, which is typical of what we use mostly in Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean. So a strip foundation is basically a strip of reinforced concrete that runs along the bottom of a wall. All right, and what it does is to support that wall. That's basically it, just a strip of concrete. All right, so that's what we'll be doing today. All right, so here we are back in AutoCAD. In the last couple of videos, this was where we got to, and so now we're going to add our foundation. Now if you go back over to your project navigator, this is it right here. We are now going to go into our foundation construct, and this is where we'll be drawing our foundation. Everything foundation related will be going into that file. All right, and if you're not seeing project navigator, it is right up here. So you're going to open it up and it should bring you to your project settings. We'll go down to constructs, foundations. So we're going to open it, and up here we can see that we have it open, and it's almost like a brand new drawing because there's nothing inside of it. So the first thing we're going to do is to bring in our grid lines, just like we did for the ground floor. So right click, and we're going to say XREF overlay, and just like that, our grid lines are now in. The second thing to do is to draw our foundation walls. So there are two ways we can do this. We can draw the walls from scratch like we did in episode 4, or since we already have the walls over here, we could actually copy these walls. What do you think? Why not? So let's go back to the top view, and we're going to go back to 2D wireframe, and we're going to copy these walls. So we're going to click on one of the walls, and we're going to right click, and we're going to say select similar. And what that will do is to select all your walls. Now, people, we're not going to copy the doors, and we're not going to copy the windows, because we don't have windows and doors in a foundation. We only need the walls. Okay, that is why we're copying just walls. So we go over to back to home, and I just want to show you now, this copy tool, we're not going to use it, okay, because we're copying from one file to another file, but we need to copy using a reference point, and the reference point that I want to use is 1A, right at this intersection. So how do we do that? We're going to use the command copy base, and the shortcut for that is Ctrl+Shift+C. As you can see here, it is now active, and we're going to select this intersection here as a reference point. So we're going to click, and now we can go over to our foundation, and we're going to paste. Now, if you know the shortcut for paste, that would be what? Control V. So Control V. And now you can see that we have the same reference point here for the 1A on the grid line. So we're going to drop it right at that intersection. And just like that, our walls are now inside of our foundation drawing. All right. Now, if I should go to 3D and observe, what do you observe? These walls are too tall. Put it hidden. There's no way we would have our foundation walls this tall. So the first thing we need to do is to reduce the height. So we're going to click on it. Let's select all our walls again. And we're going to go over to our properties and change the height of our walls to 4 feet. That's it. You have to remember that when we set up the project, we set the foundation to be 4 feet high. All right. So that's going to be that. So now we have the foundation walls all set and all done. The second thing we're going to do is to add the floor slab. All right. And the floor slab should be right on top of this area here, right on top of it. It should flush with the top of the wall. So let me show you. If I should rotate the floor like this, the floor should be flushing exactly on top of here. All right. So we're going to do that. Let's go back to the top view, 2D wireframe, and we're going to go to roof slab and change it to slab. All right. We can find it here, or we can go over to our tool palette where it is also located in the design tab. You'll go down until you see slab right here. All right. Either way, let's click on it. And now we can draw our slab. So the first thing we're going to do is to type in how thick we want this slab to be. So we want the slab to be 6 inches thick. Okay. For residential properties, it would be 6 inches. And for commercial, it would be a little bit thicker, maybe 8 inches. So for this building, we're going to leave it at 6. Make sure that the justify is top. Everything else is good. And then we're going to go ahead and draw a box around. And this box, we're going to draw it on the inside of this wall. So turn this off. So we're going to draw it from here over to this corner like that, down to this corner like that, over to this corner, and then back up to this corner like that. All right. And so we close the box right there, and we're going to hit enter. And that's it. Hit enter one more time. Let's look at that in 3D. You know, I love my 3D view. I'm going to say conceptual this time. Now, if you notice now that the floor slab is below the foundation, which is ridiculous. I don't want it there. I want it to be on top, flushing with the top of the wall. So what I need to do is to click on the floor slab and change the elevation from 0 to 4 what? 4 feet. Enter. Just like that. All right, so that is how that should look. Flush, just like that. Now, if you notice, I'm going to put this in X-ray view so you can see what I'm saying now. If you notice, the walls are intersecting with the floor. So if I should go like this, you can see that the floor actually runs through the wall, and we don't want that. Okay, we actually want the floor to stop at each wall. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to create what is called interference. All right. So click on the wall, or rather click on the slab, and then we're going to go up to interference, and we're going to add some interference. So we click on it, and you want to select, it says down here, select objects to add. So what do we want to add? We want to add these walls that are interfering with the floor slab. So let's go ahead and select them. We could actually do it from the 3D view, which is what I'm going to do here. That wall, and then we have this wall, we have this wall, and we also have this wall. So these are the walls that are interfering with the floor slab. Once you're done selecting, you would press enter, and then you have the decision to say, do you want it to be additive or do you want it to be subtractive? Which one do you think? Perfect. Subtractive. Somebody will say bright, you know. Yeah, man. Subtract. And just like that, boom. The floor is now separated for each room. So each room now has its own floor slab. All right. And the last thing we need to do is to add our foundation footing. Okay. So you see, it's not all that difficult. In fact, this might be the most difficult part of the video, so pay attention. So we're going to add some footing. What we need to do is to go to our tool palette, and we're going to say content browser, and we're going to look for the footing to add to this drawing. So we go to Imperial. Let me go back. If you're using metric, you would go to metric, but we're using Imperial for this project. So we're going to go to Imperial, and then we're going to go down to walls, go to concrete, and here we can see that we have a couple of options. We have like a concrete wall foundation with a footing beneath it. We have concrete walls. We have a lot of different stuff. But the one that we're going to be using is this one here. Okay. It says here variable width times 12 inches concrete strip foundation. So we can change the width, but the height of it is 12 inches, which is too thick, but we're going to make some adjustment to it still. But this is the one that I would recommend that you use. So what I'm going to do actually is to add it to my walls tool palette. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say add to tool palette. So now it is in my tool palette down here. Move it up. And we're going to go ahead and draw one of these strip foundation. So we're going to click on it, and we want the width to be 1 feet 6 inches. Okay, 1 feet 6. And we want the justifier to be center. And what else? I'm going to leave it at that for now. And I'm going to draw the first footing foundation from here to here. Click, enter. So just like that, we have our first foundation. But the problem with this is that it is too thick. It is 12 inches, which would be fine if that's what you wanted. But for this project, I want a foundation that is 9 inches thick, which is typical for most of the houses that we do in Jamaica. All right. So 9 inches. So how do we do this? We're going to have to edit this foundation. So what we're going to do is to copy style. Well, first you need to highlight the object, and then we're going to say copy style. And we're going to change the name of it because we want this to be our own one that we use. So we're going to change it to 9 because this one is going to be 9 inches tall or thick. Change the description to 9 as well. And then we'll go over to components. And this is where now things get deep, technical. It looks difficult, but it's not. All right. So this is like a view window where we can see what the footing looks like based on what we do over here. Basically, all we're going to do is to change this to 9. That's all. But make sure that it is -9. Okay. So it is going to be -9 inches. And I'm going to change this to 0. And then I'm going to say, okay. Okay, that's it. Yep, that is it. And we can go over to our style just to check if that's the one we're using. So now we have a separate style that we've just created called X times 9, which is a variable width times a 9-inch deep foundation. All right, strip foundation, just to make sure. So now we're good to go. If we look at it in 3D, let's do that. We can see that we have a strip foundation running underneath that wall that is 9 inches thick. Perfect. So we're going to finish the rest of it. Top 2D wireframe. So what we're going to do is to click on this one. We're going to say add selected. All right. So we're going to be adding the rest of it. So let's start from this corner and go all the way across. It's almost like you're drawing walls. Going down. And then we're going to go across. All right, so far we have our external walls being done. Now we need to do the internal ones. The internal ones might be a little bit more challenging because we don't have a grid line running through all of them. Add selected. Well, this one has a grid line, so let's do this one. So we're going to start right at the green box. I'm going to bring it all the way up to this one. I would recommend turn on the ortho mode. This will help you so that your foundation walls are, your foundation footing will be straight. No one on lean up, lean up. All right, so we have that one. We're going to add one across here. Let's do that. Click on one of these and we're going to say add selected. And when what I'm looking for is a green box to pop up in this corner. Let me see. Right. See that green box? Once you see the green box, click. All right, good. Bring it across. And I see another green box over there. I'm going to just click. Even though it looks like the mouse or the cursor is not there, once the green box pop up, just click. And we're going to do the same thing. Add selected. Let's do this one. I'm going to come down from that grid point. And that green box right there, click. And we're going to go across to that green box. Then we have this tiny wall left. So click on it, add selected. And here we have that green box right there. Let me see that one. Click, bring it across and click. And guess what, guys? Just like that, we have all our foundation complete. That's it. So let's go back to 3D X-ray. And I might just add a perspective to that so you can have a nicer look at it, man. So just like that, guys, we have our foundation walls, our foundation footing, and our ground floor slab. All right, so we have the slab. Look at that, how beautiful. Now when you reach this point, guys, there's one thing that you don't want to forget to do, and that is to hit the save button. So go ahead, hit save, and you're good. All right, guys, so that's it. that is it. Let me just kind of just spin it around and rotate it so I can see it and see what the thing look good. Alright guys, so thank you for joining me on this one. I hope that you learned something. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments, and remember, hit the like button. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.